Welcome to 12 Report. My name is Mazino Appeal. First, the headlines. Nigerian military steps up land and air operations in the north after Trump's threat to deploy troops over alleged Christian killings. And EFCC declares ex-Petroleum Minister Timipre Sylva wanted over $14.8 million fraud allegation. U.S. Senate passes funding bill aimed at ending longest government shutdown in the country's history. Now, as usual, we have our reporters stationed in different parts of the country and beyond. Austin Azu is joining from Anambra. Aisha Salihu, Sumaya Abubakar and Joshua Marai are joining from Abuja. Chizoba Anyonwe is joining from Plateau, while Bongani Sisiba will be reporting in from South Africa. We've got the details in a moment. On 12 Report this noon, we begin with the security matters. Now, Nigeria's military has intensified coordinated land and air offensives across parts of the north following U.S. President Donald Trump's warning of possible intervention over persistent attacks on Christian communities. Security sources say the military has expanded surveillance, launched targeted raids, and conducted aerial strikes in key insurgent zones. The renewed operations come amid heightened pressure on Abuja to curb sectarian violence and protect civilians. Meanwhile, tension among armed groups have escalated. Over 50 militants were reportedly killed during clashes between Boko Haram and Islamic State, West Africa province, fighters in Adama, or rather in Adadam, Borno State, as both groups battle for control and dominance in the region. The Presidency has reaffirmed President Bola Tinubu's determination to tackle insecurity and promote peaceful coexistence across Nigeria. Special Advisor on Policy Communication, Sunday Dare, shared a post on X highlighting Tinubu's resolve to end terrorism and strengthen national unity. Dare emphasized the President's commitment to fostering religious peace, economic cooperation and tolerance, noting that Nigeria's diversity should unite rather than divide the nation. The statement comes ahead of Tinubu's scheduled meeting with U.S. President Donald Trump to discuss counterterrorism cooperation and respond to allegations of Christian genocide, claims strongly denied by Nigerian government. Governor Chukwuma Soludo is set to receive his certificate of return from the Independent National Electoral Commission today, Tuesday, November 11, 2025, in Okwa. The formal presentation, marks a key milestone in his re-election as governor of Anambra State. Soludo secured a decisive victory in the November 8 polls, polling 422,664 votes and winning across all 21 local government areas. We now cross over to Oka, the state capital, where our correspondent Austin Azu is live at the venue with more updates on the event. Austin, good afternoon. Thank you very much for joining us. Can you describe the atmosphere at the INEC office as Governor Soludo prepares to receive his certificate of return?
Okay, good afternoon, Zino. Like you can hear or can see on the screen, you can see the ambience in this particular hall at this point in time. This will signify that more guests have started arriving the venue for the official presentation of certificate of return to the governor, that's Chukwuma Soludo. However, we are still expecting more to come in. The event is bid to commence exactly 12 on the dot. But however, for the words of time, we want to speak to some of the faithful who are here. We have Air Vice Marshal Ben Ashimobi. Please step forward a little. All right, sir. Okay, please come this way, sir. This way. Okay, sir. Okay, describe how you feel about this particular event, sir. So face the camera. Face the camera.
Oh, well, for me, it's a very exciting moment. it is an indication of the efforts that is being done both at the federal level and at the state level to see that will deepen our democratic culture. So right now we are here at the INEC headquarters in Oka to witness when Mr. Governor Professor Charles Chukwuma Soludo, who won the last gubernatorial election, as he receives his certificate of return. So you can see that you have a lot of members of the All Progressive, I'm talking about the All Progressive Grand Alliance, present at this event to witness this very epoch-making event in the life of our democracy, our country, and our states.
Okay. Are we expecting more dignitaries who are bigwigs in the society to grace this occasion?
Well, yes. As you see, there's already an overflow. The hall where the event is going to hold is already filled up, and you still have a lot of people outside there. So I'm sure that somehow something will be set up for them to be able to witness what is going on inside here. So it's a very important moment in the life of this state, in the political culture of our country. So I expect that a lot of people bearing all the security screening and all that will be both inside here, and they will also be outside to see that they witness this event.
Okay, you are a stakeholder in the APGA. Okay, tell us what are we expecting from the governor in his second term in office, or what are we expecting immediately he gets his certificate of return?
Well, he's already at work. Recall that when that massive result was announced, which you know he won with more than 400,000 votes, he was out there to address Anambra and the rest of the world to share that happy moment with us. And there and then he announced straight away that he was setting off into Gear 4. And Gear 4 means that he will be running with a lot of speed to see that all the good work he started in his first tenure, that he deepens them in his second tenure. So that's what it's all about in all the sectors that is important in the life of Anambra. That is what his focus will be.
Okay, thank you very much. Air Vice Marshal Ben Chuobi, retired. We appreciate you for your time. Okay, from what we gathered so far, immediately after the presentation of this certificate of return to the governor, is expected to make a speech here, at least to assure the residents and the people of Anambra his commitment to the task ahead. So back to you, Zeno, in the studio.
For one more question, or maybe two, are there any notable dignitaries or maybe party officials or members of public in attendance for this ceremony?
Yes, from where we are standing from our advantage position, I can't really figure who and who is standing by at the moment because the governor has not arrived at these premises. But as soon as the governor arrives, definitely we are going to see more who and who is going to be part of this event. Okay, let me speak to Bob, a veteran Nollywood actor. All right, Bob. Okay, are we expecting more dignitaries that will grace this occasion?
Oh yes, more dignitaries are definitely going to come. You know, this is a momentous occasion for Anambra State. In the history of Anambra State, what happened during the campaign period and the election itself had never happened before. You know, where the citizens of the state, communities, individuals, local governments, the senatorial zones took over the campaign for the governorship candidate, the leader of the party in the state, the incumbent governor, and now organize and invite him to address them and also support him financially. So it has never happened before anywhere in Nigeria. As for the event of this morning, which is getting the certificate of return, every Anambra is happy. You know, across board, I have monitored radio stations, television stations, since the results came out finally, to find out that what has been done in this election is what we call in Igbo, Obiora, which means the mind of the people. The people really spoke their minds in this election, and their wishes and aspirations came to pass. Now, the governor himself has said to the world, now he's going into Gear 4, that the first 3 years plus was Gear 1, progressing to 3. Now he's getting into the second tenure, he's going into Gear 4. And we all know, for those who drive, know that when you are in Gear 4 and above, is acceleration and cruising. High speed in order to get to your destination.
Thank you, Bob. We appreciate you. Because of what of time, we appreciate you. Have a nice day. All right, from what the respondents have said so far, it's expected that the governor will make another speech here to assure the residents of the state, and of course to continue what he intends to do for the people of Anambra State. So back to you in the studio, Zeno.
Austin, thank you very much for bringing us the details for the event, and of course we'll be coming back to you subsequently for more report. Thank you, Austin. We head to Kano, where a fire broke out yesterday on Tuesday at the popular Singer Market in Kano, destroying multiple shops and stores before firefighters could contain the blaze. The Kano State Fire Service received an emergency call at around 5 a.m. from a market trader reporting flames spreading across the busy commercial area. Firefighters quickly deployed units to the scene, preventing further spread, but several businesses suffered significant losses. Our correspondent, Emmanuel Bagudu, joins us now to give us more details. Well, Emmanuel, good afternoon. Thank you very much for joining us. We'd like to know exactly what the situation is like now at Singer Market after the flames.
Yeah, a very, very devastating situation in the nation's second largest commercial hub, talking about Kano State. Abdul Manati Yunus Plaza almost, going down the drain, all thanks to the Kano Fire Service who rescued the situation. And of course, this is what is just left of the few persons that have lost their properties. And of course, market traders, artisans are still, trying to recover the losses. And of course, they are saying that they are thankful to the fire service who acted swiftly. So I'm here with one of the big leaders of the market who is going to give us an insight of what really transpired. So dan haka dan bamu menene ya faru anan kuma yake faru an gure ba tinta dai yawa na farko dai wannan abu Allah ya jarabe mu da gobara wacce take kai mana mun dire gurgudu sai karan jiya da dare misalin karfe 4 zuwa 3 da rabi aka kira aka tuka ta tai wajen daga kan duk kadi cikin duk an fitar da su duk ga nan zuwa hannu da sun kone haka duka ina dinnan suka kone ga nan na abin da yake wannan da tsawa inda da aka samu sarki da yake nan balko nan ne wuta ba amma nan gaba daya kaga dai ya kone gidan saman gaba daya doke da daidai gurgudu dai lokacin an yi kokari yayin da za a yi amma dai da yake wutan ta yi karfi don wasu daga cikin nan da masu zuwa sarauta Allah ido aka yi Allah ya sa daga cikin mun dukkan nan an gyara mutum ba zai iya zuwa nan. So what I'm saying is that of course the entire story building is of course has been engulfed by fire, a lot of losses, but of course few shops downstairs have been saved. That's what he's trying to say, and it happened just there. It started early morning day before yesterday, and of course official statement from the fire service it indicates that of course they have saved the situation, and of course you can still see properties of persons being rescued from the shop. Not much of a loss, but of course there are records of losses here.
Bagudu, we're very concerned about the amount of time it took the fire responders to actually get there. Did they experience any challenges before getting to the flames?
Okay, wayan ma'aikatan wuta masu kashe wuta sun samu matsala zuwa nan wurin ko sun da sauri sun samu zuwa da sauri gaskiya sun zo amma dai gaskiya a yanda muka mu zo a yanda labarai ta samu wanda suke wajen sun ce gaskiya farko sun kira dan an dare sun ce da Allah sa daga lokacin da suka kira an yi kokarin zuwa da wuri da wutan ma zai wuya ta haura na an kashe ta rashin an dile da aka samu sai ban san menene ba amma wajen ai da dare ba wani da titi da kawai kace kuma na makasan ya ka da ta irin wannan baka san me da aka ce cewa ya ba za ka fasa rai akan bai da isa ba da duk kuma san da su yi kokari daga lokacin da Allah ya fara kawo su a cikin dan nan sai mun biya kokari don wata motar ta zuwa sai kamfanoni wanda ya tsaya su yi kokarin kuma ga sun ba mu gudunmawa sosai daga lokacin da aka fara zuwa gaskiya wajen kashe wutan nan ta gaba a samu wani tsayawa da ɗaya ba wanda za ta ba iya mu what he's trying to say is that yes, there was a delay. Officially, there was a delay. But since it happened in the night, there was no reason for any delay because in the night there's no traffic jam on the road. Of course, the fire services confirmed by themselves that they find it difficult trying to locate this place. That if they had located the place earlier, that this damage wouldn't have been done and these losses wouldn't have been incurred. But of course, he is saying that of course he's still thanking them that they have tried their best. But of course, they have officially, he's saying that they have really found it difficult to come here because they have opened up from themselves they are sincere enough to say that had it been at the time, that particular time they were called, they were able to locate the location so swiftly that this damage wouldn't have been incurred. Yeah.
Well, Emmanuel Bagudu, thank you very much for bringing us the detailed sad story, however, but we continue to come to you for more of these. Thank you, Bagudu. We're now going to break. When we return, EFCC declares ex-Petroleum Minister Timipre Sylva wanted. Details after the break. Do stay with us. Welcome again. Nigeria is taking center stage in Africa's aviation development as the Federal Ministry of Aviation and Aerospace Development convenes the 2025 Africa-wide Cape Town Convention Conference in Abuja. The event, organized by Minister Festus Keyamo, brings together aviation regulators and stakeholders from across the continent to deepen collaboration and harness the full benefits of the Cape Town Convention. Our correspondent Sumaya Abubakar is live at Transcorp Hilton, where the conference is underway. Sumaya, good morning, or rather good afternoon. Thank you very much for joining us. Please, if you'll give us an idea of what the ambience is like and what we should expect for the event.
Good afternoon, Mazzino. Indeed, I would say this place is really fully packed with aviation stakeholders, but it's starting with also government officials. We have a representative of the host, which is the Minister of Aviation and Aerospace, Festus Keyamo. He wasn't able to attend in person for today, but perhaps he would come tomorrow because it's a two-day event. We also have the head of aviation's agencies. Judges, because it is about implementing law, in terms of the Cape Town, convention and this treaty. Also, we have members of the National Assembly and House of Representatives all here to talk about, the progress of the African aviation. So currently, we're on break, but then the discussion started with an opening remarks from these major key players in the sector, talking about the essence of this convention, saying that Nigeria is hosting this, in order to show its commitment to this treaty. Now, of course, this treaty is something that happened in 2001 in South Africa, and it is a treaty of pushing, African aviation towards safer, talking about trust and also sustainable growth in terms and cheaper also in terms of aviation sector. So currently, that's the discussion so far.
Let's talk about that key focus now, trying to make sure aviation is a seamless unit throughout the African continent. What other representatives from what other countries have you seen at the event today?
I would say that we have a major representative from different African countries, from the French speaking, to the English and even the Portuguese are all here encompassing. Now, naming names, of course, will not be, possible considering they have yet to, speak on the podium, but we are hoping to get to hear from them. But we also have a key notable group, representative, that would be Secretary General of the Aviation Group. That's the Global Aviation Group, which are here present. Now, there was one concern pointed out that way back in terms of aviation compliance, Nigeria has been on like 40%, which has garnered them, a bit of punishment or removal from this group of aviation. But right now, the Aviation Group has a representative here showing that Nigeria has moved in terms of compliance from 49% to over 70%, and they are saying, we've had the representative talk about how Nigeria has grown and shown its own intentional, need in terms of pushing the aviation sector into more prosperous and more law, abiding in terms of sustainability and customer trust. Now, we all know that in recent months we've seen problems of, the aviation sector, lack of trust, delay in flights and all of that. So this here, the key issue is to push not just financing, but also to bring trust between the people and also to make the African sector, aviation sector look more great and good for investors to come in and invest. And hopefully there will be a modernization of the sector.
Sumaya, thank you very much for representing us there. And of course, we'll be looking forward to the great reports that you bring from this event. Thank you, Sumaya. The 2025 Digital Nigeria International Conference is underway in the nation's capital, Abuja. The conference, being hosted by the federal government through the National Information Technology Development Agency, NITDA, provides a platform for dialogue on artificial intelligence, emerging technologies, digital public infrastructure, trade, and innovation. We're now joined by our correspondent Joshua Imarai, who is live at the summit. Joshua, thank you very much for joining us. Please tell us, what the theme is for this year's occasion?
Well, good afternoon to you, Marcino. It is the 2025 Digital Nigeria Conference holding in Nigeria's capital, Abuja, particularly at the Bola Tinubu International Conference Center. What just happened now was that the opening ceremony, as flagged off by the Vice President, Kashim just ended. And most of the conversation here is geared towards moving Nigeria to that digital stage it deserves, and it really needs to actualize the $1 trillion economy. Earlier on, we had the DG Nita, who was on the panel on the fireside section, and he said that the shortest road for Nigeria to actualize the truly digital economy that it deserves is through digital infrastructure, and Nigeria cannot then be behind in this digital age, and that the first, the second, and the third world revolution, Nigeria experienced them, but Nigeria was more or less a redundant player in the first, second, and third industrial revolution, and that Nigeria cannot sit back and not experience and be a key player in the digital revolution of the digital age. And he proposed that Nigeria needs to build infrastructure, needs to build personnel, and those who actualize digital dream, that is the youthful population of the country.
Imarai, beyond the discussions, are there any concrete commitments on policy directions maybe? Are we expecting to see any of these at the conference?
Well, government agents and representatives, particularly the Vice President, made comments about the governance and digital economy that is being sent, that is being transmitted to the President for assent. And as we speak now, we are expecting that that particular bill will be signed by the President. And what they say about that bill is that this bill is going to transition Nigeria into a more robust, having the legal framework for digital economy and digital transformation. It is the first in Africa, and it is expected it to foster inclusiveness, particularly around marginalized and rural communities, as well as those who are out of touch with digital technological innovation and development in the country. Overall, it is set a catapult to achieving a digital economy that is actually possible to achieve the $1 trillion economy.
Joshua Imarai, thank you very much for joining us this afternoon on 12 Report. Thank you, Joshua. As part of efforts towards tackling cancer, stakeholders say awareness creation is not enough to managing or reducing the burden of the disease, but creating a financial support system that can help patients access health care. At a fund disbursement ceremony for cancer patients by the Medicaid Cancer Foundation in partnership with the Ministry of Health, donor agencies, partners, and stakeholders say this move is a direct follow-up to its Walk Away Cancer Awareness campaign for 2025. News Central's Aishat Salihu is live at the venue and tells us more. Aishat, good to have you here on 12 Report. Please, if you'll tell us the details about today's event.
Just had a meeting with stakeholders, especially in the health sector. You recall that just in October was the Breast Cancer Awareness Month, and stakeholders and experts alike have been talking about the cancer disease burden in Nigeria, especially as it keeps rising. And one of the challenges would be not just creating awareness. They're saying that it is time for us to move from awareness creation. It's not just about awareness of the different types of cancers and what to do about it, but it's more about creating sustainable support system for those with cancers, any type of cancer at all. And one of the challenges that these patients have always faced over the years is the financial burden that this disease has come to take on them, especially with regards to accessing medication, chemotherapy, radiotherapy, even surgeries for those who have to do surgeries, and even post-care. And the stakeholders here alike have talked about how it is necessary for all relevant authorities to come together and see to it that there is more support and creation of avenues where financial aid and assistance can be provided for cancer patients. And they also highlighted the fact that although government is doing its part, especially with the cancer health fund that has been initiated by the ministry and also under the National Institute for Cancer Research and Training, but they're saying that alone amounts to just about 200 million naira, even with the appropriation bill, and that is not enough for a country that has a high population, a high burden of cancer disease. And also the National Health Insurance Authority, people from the agency, from the authority, talked about how NHI is working to have a more robust and also create enlarge the cost of creating more funding for patients who have cancer disease, just especially so that once it has been detected early, especially those who have stage 1 or stage 2 cancers, they can easily access these funds and manage these cancers and these interventions.
Aisha, thank you very much. You took every single question out of my mouth, but you did cover every single thing. Thank you very much, Aisha. Now, the Nigerian Railway Corporation in Jos Plateau State has renewed its call for caution and on and around railway crossings. They're emphasizing the importance of traffic rules for the safety of passengers and road users. The reminder comes after 2 recent accidents at Jos Railway Crossing left 2 people dead and several others injured in less than a week. Authorities say strict adherence to railway and traffic regulation is key to preventing such tragedies. News Central's Chizoba Anyonwe joins us live from Jos to provide updates and share the latest from the Nigerian Railway Corporation. Chizoba, good morning, or rather good afternoon. Thank you very much for joining us here. It is a sunny day in Jos, and I can see you're standing right next to one of the railway lines. Tell us what the situation is. Chizoba, apologies. I will have to stop you there because we can't seem to hear you. Seems the audio is not, we're not connecting to the audio. So we'll take a break and we'll come back to you if you don't mind. Thank you very much. Story where the Nigerian Railway Corporation in Jos Plateau State is renewing its call for caution around railway crossings after 2 events that left people in tragic states from a couple of weeks. And we have Chizoba Anyonwe who's joining us. Chizoba, we don't want to keep you out there any longer, but do give us, bring us up to speed on the state of things in Jos regarding the railways.
Thanks, Martino. Good afternoon. Okay, so just as you can see, I am by the railway station in Jos, the Dogon-Karfi station. If you can just see behind me, that's a mini station for the railway services in Jos, Plateau State. And of course, just like you read in that report, just a few days ago, 4 or 5 days ago, there was an incident where the tricycle rider, popularly known as Kano, tried to do a fast U-turn, according to eyewitnesses, on the rail track, and unfortunately, he did not live to tell the story of what happened. Unfortunately, too, a passenger that was on board also did not live to tell the story. However, 3 or 4 days after, it was worrisome that another incident happened just right behind me here, just less than 100 meters away from where I am standing now. Another incident happened, but good enough, there was no fatality. Well, I tried to reach the officials of the Nigeria Railway Corporation here in Jos, and the PRO, that's the Public Relations Officer, Mr. Adam Abdullahi, confirmed the incident actually, but said he would get back to me for more details. I waited up until now, and of course, I didn't get any more details, but this is the fact. Those incidents happened, and he said that his authorities are also saying that they are putting measures on the ground to ensure that that kind of incident does not reoccur. I mean, that's the first time it is happening. And unfortunately, just in the space of 5 days, and these 2 incidents have occurred. Well, the people are worried, both passengers and even other road users are worried and are calling on concerned authorities to do everything possible to ensure that road traffic rules are maintained, both the users and, the officials of these roads that we are talking about, both on the rail track and on the major roads. So that's the details for now. But however, once they continue to unfold, we'll keep you up to speed.
Chizoba, I'm just wondering, very curious, Exactly what kind of measures are the authorities saying that they might put in place? Because looking at the rails there, they traverse just across the street, and I'm wondering how exactly they can stop people from running the lights, if there are any.
On the phone when I spoke with him, he said the officials are always on the road, on the railways where these trains pass, to ensure that there are nobody trying to play a fast one on the tracks, just like the tricycle rider did, trying to do a fast U-turn on the road. So, but I keep wondering, if the officials were there, why and how would that person be allowed to do that, play that fast one on the train, and it ended the way it did? Again, if you can see behind me again, there's a railway crossing just like less than 200 meters away from where I am standing now. Usually it is brought down to ensure that no cars, no bikes or motorcycles or nobody crosses into the rail tracks. But unfortunately, these things have happened. So probably the way he said he will get more details across to me later from his principals, I guess by the time he makes these details available, we would all know what measures exactly they are trying to put in place to ensure that this incident, this very sad incident, does not reoccur.
Well, Chizoba Nyenwe, thank you very much for joining us on 12 Report this afternoon. Nigeria's security challenges continue to cast a shadow over many communities. In Plateau State, Reverend Ezekiel Dachomo says his community has faced repeated attacks, including the brutal killings of his own family members. He believes Christians are being deliberately targeted, a claim the federal government strongly denies. News Central will bring an exclusive conversation with Reverend Dachomo later today, providing first-hand account of the violence and the community's call for accountability. That discussion doesn't end there. Tonight at 7 p.m., watch the full exclusive interview.
This is where I grown up. And the Fulani knows that that is my village. They invented chanting Allah Akbar, Allah Akbar, sporadic shooting all over the village from different angles. And this is the sound of their guns. I don't know whether it comes from, is it Iraq or Iran or anything. You hear kukum, 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 kukum. This is the sound of the terrorists in Islam. And when they enter the village, and this is what happened. They move after that night. Those that were able to escape helter-skelter, they were able to go and hide. Then they burned the villages. I was called. I have to take a journalist to that village the following morning. Because I wanted to go down there. They said, no, don't come this night. They can do something for you. I was crying. I couldn't sleep. My wife is here with me. She knows I was restless in Bukuru that time. Until when it was in the morning, I was able to move. Come and see children that came out from the bush and they were in trauma. Women that hid themselves and went reluctantly into the village. The youths that escaped, they gathered themselves and come back into the village. They were following me into the house. What will I see? I was able to see my grandmother that I grown up with in Gomata. And the youths were challenging me that they want us to bring something for their self-defense. And we didn't do anything. And look at it here. When I saw her corpse, the youths are the one that opened her chest for me. And I saw a broken knife. There was no heart. They asked me, would they remove that knife? I said, no, leave it there. Let that knife become a weakness for us when eternity comes. Wherever they are, they will not escape judgment. Then they say I should follow them again. Behind the yard, here is my uncle's corpse called Dangai. his tongue was removed.
An emotional interview there. That discussion didn't end there. You can find plenty on tonight at 7 p.m. Watch the full exclusive interview as Reverend Achomo shares his experience pressing for answers and shedding light on Nigeria's ongoing security crisis. So at News Central for the full report. Now, in a bid to strengthen collaboration between the police and civil rights advocates, Lagos State Commissioner of Police CP Moshood Jimoh has hosted renowned social activist Dr. Segun Awosanya, popularly known as Sega Links. The meeting comes amid renewed attention on another activist, Omoyele Sowore, who the Lagos Police Command has declared wanted. News Central's lead correspondent Bernard Akede reports here.
Activists are often seen on opposite sides, but at the Lagos State Police Command headquarters, it was a different atmosphere. Handshakes, smiles, and a rare show of mutual respect. Social rights activist Segun Awosanya, widely known by his social media handle Sega Link, paid a courtesy visit to the Commissioner of Police, commending him and his team for their ongoing efforts in maintaining peace and security across the state.
A lot of people are into activism for what they are going to get from the grants that they're going to get. You know, they don't understand the position of patriotism in that particular conundrum. So that's one of the reasons why we have come again, as always, to reinforce our support, for the Nigerian police. We will reinforce the position of the Nigerian police that the CP that we have today in Lagos is a no-nonsense person who will leave zero chance to chaos in our city.
The visit provided an opportunity for CP Moshood Jimoh to clarify the position of the command regarding activist Omoyele Sowore, who was recently declared wanted in connection with the protest held in Oworonshoki.
As Commissioner of Police is mentioned in the Constitution, which is Section 215, subsection 1B, 4 and 5, where the Constitution beholds the responsibility on the Commissioner of Police to ensure law and order, protection of life and property in the state, as the Commissioner of Police deemed fit, and which equally empower me to declare an individual who was in the process of committing this BM in Lagos wanted. And it is abundantly clear that there's no any law that supersedes the Constitution, and that is what we are enforcing.
The Commissioner reiterated that Sowore remains wanted by the Lagos Police Command and urged him to report to the nearest police station, warning that failure to do so may lead to his arrest.
I have given it abundantly clear to all the commanding officer in the Lagos State Police Command that wherever Sowore is seen, whether in the hotel, whether on the road, whether in a restaurant, whether anywhere except the courtroom, he should be promptly arrested and taken to the state CID for investigation and prosecution.
He, however, assured Lagos residents of the police's commitment to safeguarding lives and property, emphasizing that the command is open to working with activists, provided their actions remain within the bounds of the law. In Lagos for News Central, Bernard Akede.
The Economic and Financial Crimes Commission, EFCC, has declared former Bayelsa State Governor and former Minister of State for Petroleum Resources, Timipre Sylva, wanted. In a notice posted on its X handle, the anti-graft agency said Sylva is wanted in connection with an alleged case of conspiracy and dishonest conversion of $14.8 million. According to the EFCC, the funds were part of monies invested by the Nigerian Content Development and Monitoring Board into Atlantic International Refinery and Petrochemical Limited for the construction of a refinery. The notice, which describes the 61-year-old ex-minister as a native of Brass local government area of Bayelsa State, followed a warrant of arrest issued by the Federal High Court in Lagos on November 6, 2025. The EFCC has urged anyone with information on Sylva's whereabouts to contact its offices nationwide or the nearest police station. Coming up, South Africa announces plans to manufacture country's first cholera vaccine in 50 years. We'll bring you details after the break. Do stay with us. Now, schools in Mali have begun reopening after a 2-week closure caused by fuel shortage linked to a jihadist blockade. Classes resumed Monday in Bamako and several other cities following government approval to restart learning. The shutdown was triggered by Al-Qaeda-linked JNIM, which since September has blocked fuel convoys from Senegal and Ivory Coast, crippling parts of Mali's economy. Authorities report that recent fuel deliveries have eased the situation in urban areas, allowing schools to reopen. However, many rural schools remain closed as teachers struggle to travel, and cities like Sogo are coping with limited electricity. Mali's junta, in power since 2020, continues to face major security and operational challenges from jihadists and criminal groups. South Africa's Health Department has announced plans to manufacture the country's first vaccine from scratch in more than 5 decades, a landmark initiative targeting cholera prevention. Officials say the project will begin with phase 1 trials focused on assessing the vaccine's ability to prevent cholera infections and ensure its safety for public use. The development marks a major milestone for Africa's drive towards vaccine self-sufficiency, strengthening South Africa's capacity to combat infectious diseases through local research and innovation. Our correspondent Bongani Sisiba joins us for more. Bongani, good afternoon. Thank you very much for joining. Tell us about this vaccine. Africa seems to be pumped about it. What are the prospects?
To you. Indeed, it's a historic moment, not only for South Africa, but for the continent as a whole. As scientists, together with the Department of Health, officially launched the country's first local cholera vaccine. Over 50 years, this is a groundbreaking initiative that is aimed to strengthen the nation's ability to prevent and control cholera outbreaks. The minister also said that is an achievement, especially looking at South Africa, that 2 years ago, if I'm correct, there was a cholera outbreak in Hammarskraal that killed many. So this vaccine, if so it's safe, could be a way for mass production and internationally. So according to the minister, this development is just not a science milestone, but also giving Africa capacity to produce and do their own research when it comes to vaccines. Make sure that Africa and the continent are sufficient, especially when it comes to against rather infectious diseases in the continent.
Well, thank you very much, Bongani. Giving Africa capacity for self-sufficiency, that's what we'd like to hear. Thank you, Bongani, for joining us on 12 Report. The U.S. Senate has passed a funding bill aimed at ending the longest government shutdown in the country's history, now in its 41st day. The bill, which funds federal operations through January 30, 2026, restores pay for hundreds of thousands of furloughed workers in the past with bipartisan support. Now 60 votes to 40 as 8 Democrats joined Republicans, while Senator Rand Paul was the only Republican to oppose it. The legislation now heads to the House of Representatives, where a vote is expected as early as Wednesday. If approved, President Donald Trump is expected to sign it into law, officially reopening the government and resuming full public services.
Very long road, quite literally the longest shutdown in history. I am very, very happy to be able to say that we are coming to the end. I'm humbled by and grateful for your service. I know that the strain of these weeks has been immense, that you all have families, rent to meet, bills to pay, car and mortgage payments. And I'm grateful for all you have done to keep the Senate running.
We are going to reopen government. We're going to ensure that federal employees, whether they were furloughed or laid off or forced to work without pay, will now receive compensation that they've earned and deserve. And
now let's do your postscript this afternoon. Now it all began As a day of celebration in Benin City, the long-awaited opening of the Museum of West African Arts, a project meant to honor history and reclaim the treasures once taken from the ancient kingdom. Well, dignitaries gathered, cameras flashed, and speeches echoed. But before the ribbon could be cut, the mood changed. Outside the gates, protesters filled the air with chants and disruption. Their anger was not against the idea of the museum itself, but against what they called exclusion. The feeling that the very people whose ancestors carved those bronze had been left out of the story. Now, there's a saying amongst the Edo people, a man who forgets his father's shrine will lose his way home. And perhaps that is what's happening here. That's where we find ourselves. The protests at the Museum of West African Art wasn't just about a building or a collection of artifacts. It was a cry about memory, about the distance we've placed between heritage and ritual, between culture and the living spirit that gives its meaning. We've mastered the architecture of preservation, maybe, but forgotten the language of reverence. Heritage is not just only what is displayed in glass cases. It's also the rhythm of the drums, the invocations, the quiet acknowledgement of ancestors who kept these stories alive before museums were even built. And our rush to meet global standards, we forgot to first kneel at the feet of those who gave us the heritage in the first place. So what failed in Benin wasn't just communication, it was actually communion. The dialogue between tradition and modernity must be a two-way conversation, not just a handover. If we must truly preserve our past, then, hey, we must learn again to listen, not only to the curators, but to the architects, to the custodians of spirit and soil, and only then can we keep both heritage and ritual alive, not in conflict, but in harmony. That's our postscript for today. That said, 3 Super Eagle players still expected in camp as 21 train in Rabat ahead of Gabon clash. Onyechi Obaro is going to tell us more. Onyechi?
Super Eagles of Nigeria, Maxino, they are still preparing for the 2026 FIFA World Cup playoffs, and they're being hosted there in Morocco. Now, we understand that Victor Osimhen, Al-Hassan Yusuf, and goalkeeper Maduka Okoye are still yet to join up in camp, but they're expected today, according to the media officer of the team. So we'll give you more on that on In the Game.
Grand. Well, we're looking forward. Thank you very much, Onyechi. And that's all on 12 Report today. I want to remember you may send your eyewitness reports to the WhatsApp number being displayed on your screens now, and do follow us on social media. We are at News Central TV across all social media platforms. You can watch News Central live on DSTV channel 422, GoTV 23, Star Times 274, Avo TV, and of course on YouTube. Many thanks for watching. My name is Mazino Appeal.